Hello, everyone. Thank you, Nyang, for the introduction. My name is Adefunke Adele. Like Nyang said, I'm honored to be here today to share my knowledge and experience in being an executive assistant. I'm just going to confirm how many people do we have on the call today? Oh, I'm not able to go.
Right. So for now, we have about 25 people. More people would be joining in shortly as we go. But for now, okay, we think we have 23. I think 2 people dropped off. But
Okay,
I'm sure they would be joining in here
awesome.
as it goes on.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So first of all, I would like to say congratulations to the 20-something people we have on the call today. I say congratulations because you were looking at the role as, oh, executive assistant, like an upgraded PA. But trust me, you are an exec, like Nyang said, you are a CEO in training. So congratulations to you if you've decided to be an executive assistant or you're thinking about it. Well done, and congratulations once again. So this webinar session isn't going to be about academic tips. You can read all of that on Google. You can pick up a book about that. I'm just here to share, practical tips and real life experiences from myself and from my colleagues as well. If I'm speaking too fast, please let me know, drop in the comments. If you need me to repeat anything, let me know. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comments and I will be answering as we go or at the end of the session. Now, first of all, I'd like to say, if you pick nothing, absolutely nothing from this 1 hour session today, there are 2 things I need you to pick, please. The number one thing is, please, please, please determine your personal values before you go into that role. Being an executive assistant is very personal, and we'll get into that as we proceed. But you need to determine your personal values. Who am I? What do I stand for? What are the things I will not, be caught doing? Things like that. You need to determine who you are before you begin to work as an executive assistant. The second thing I need you to know is your job, your only job is to make your boss look good. That's it. Every other thing rides on that. Your boss must always, always look good. Now, let's begin. So, okay, I would like for us to, let me see. I'd like for us to please drop in the comment section, just one line of what you think an executive assistant means. Just one line, please. Quickly, let's go, please. Nothing yet, people. What do you think? Okay. Rakib, assistant to top managers. Okay. An extension of the CEO's mind. Okay, Olajumoke. Okay, people, let's go, please. Just a few more. There's a reason for this. An extension of the CEO's mind. I like that. EA is literally the eyes and ears of the CEO or management. Okay. Olamide, well done. Well done, Rakib. Assistant to top managers. Very important. Okay, I'm just going to wait for about 2 more and then we proceed. A CEO's assistant. Okay, Joel. The right-hand person to a CEO. Okay. Okay, Jadesola. Okay, so yes, all of these are correct. Right-hand person to a CEO. Yes, it goes without saying. CEO's assistant. Yes, that's your job. Executive assistant to the CEO. Literally the closest personnel to the CEO. Yes, yes. All of these are correct. But I would really like for us to expand our minds. You being an executive assistant has moved from, being just a CEO's assistant. I could be a CEO's assistant, and all I'm going to be doing is, checking her calendar, making sure her documents are well, her dress is well, her kids are picked up from school, things like that. Closest person to the CEO, that goes without saying. CEO, chief of staff, awesome. Well, Ebenezer, he is not the CEO, but yeah, co-CEO, I would say. Eyes and ears of the CEO of or management. Olamide, I really love that. So as I was saying, the role has transitioned from, being just an assistant, like we're saying. It's quite archaic to say, I'm an executive assistant. I'm an assistant to a Mr. Taffa, CEO of Crypto, for example. Now, if you know, as we are aware, as we are all aware, businesses have evolved and continue to evolve. We are now in fast-paced business environments. Years ago, a lot of things that we didn't think were possible are now possible in terms of economical and technological power. Humans continue to grow. We are now in complex business environments. Projects you never thought would happen 5 years ago, 10 years ago are happening. Digital transformations that we have never seen before are happening. CEOs are now having to make decisions, fast, quick decisions. You can read up all of this. These are not just things I'm saying. These are real facts. Things are happening very, very fast. So as an executive assistant, your role is no longer one of an assistant. You are a co-CEO. Who said Ebenezer? Like Ebenezer said, okay, chief of staff, he said. Someone said co-CEO. You are a co-CEO. You are basically the shadow of the CEO. Inyang said this at the beginning. You are the shadow of the CEO. Everything the CEO does, everything the CEO does not do, that is who you are, basically. And if you know, as a CEO, you are breathing the mission, the vision, the goals of the organization. So as the executive assistant, you are doing the same thing. You are not just the right-hand person. You're not just the first person the CEO goes to if they need something, or the person the CEO runs ideas by. You are a co-CEO in your own right, which is why right now we have executive assistants as they are no longer officer level. If you are an executive assistant to somebody now, to a company, to an organization, a well-structured organization, you are not looking to be an officer or a senior officer. You are a manager. Your role is going to be a managerial position, and you're going to be sitting with executives, every decision making with executives. Available pathways and doors. We're going to get into this. They are numerous. That was why I said congratulations, at the beginning of this call. Congratulations to you. Let's move on quickly. I know we have just 40 minutes. So career background. Yes, I am a lawyer. I'm a corporate lawyer. I got called to bar in 2013. I'm an alumni of Swansea University. I finished in year 2013. Attended the Nigerian bar, got called to the bar, but I did not start out my career as a lawyer, even though I had gotten called to bar. I actually started out as an executive assistant to a CEO. And truth be told, it was an advice from a cousin of mine that, oh, Funke, why don't you work for this person? I was thinking, why would I want to go and be an assistant to a CEO? I'm a lawyer. I should be going to court and doing this and, litigation, conflict resolution, and all of that. However, I got into this role as an executive assistant, and majority of the skills I would need as a lawyer, I developed them being an executive assistant. From being an executive assistant, I became a board secretary to different organizations. Right now, I'm a board secretary to a public in the public sector, in the private sector, and in the NGO field, all from being an executive assistant. I've also been a monitoring and evaluation specialist, project management, and the likes. I've been a procurement manager. My last role in a paid employment was a procurement manager. And if you know what a procurement manager is, that is huge. This is just somebody that was an executive assistant 10 years ago. So just so you know, if you decide to be an executive assistant today, look at it as you deciding to be a business owner or being a business executive or even a doctor, I dare say. You are that important to an organization. Moving on, what's the importance of this role and why is it blowing up now? Value to the executive and the company. As an executive assistant, your value, you're thinking, what am I going to be doing with, in the organization? Isn't it just to go in, do my work, go here, do that? Trust me, you are invaluable. You are absolutely invaluable. If you fail in your job, your boss fails. Most likely, the company fails. I can tell you that for a fact. I have had experiences and I've had my colleagues' experiences as well. Secondly, you need to know that as an executive assistant, you are a strategic partner in the organization. When you're a strategic partner, you go into the company, you look, okay, what's their mission? Where are they even going? What's their vision? What are they trying to achieve? What are the activities they are trying to perform? What's their goal? Where are they headed? And most importantly, what are their core values? Like I said, you determine your personal value, and then you get into the organization, you check their core values as well. So if you are able to embody all of these things, their core values, their role, and their mission, their vision, etc., you will absolutely be able to help them create a sustained business environment. You'll be able to help them stand out. And this is just you as an executive assistant. So you're absolutely invaluable to the organization. Secondly, you are a liaison officer. You are the liaison between the CEO and every other person, even the presidency, governor's office, whoever it is, you are the liaison officer. But nothing goes to the CEO or from the CEO except through you. So you see the power that you wield. You are wielding a whole lot of power. If you decide that, okay, Adefunke offended me the other day. She's my friend, but she's trying to seek an opportunity with my boss. And I'm not going to let my boss see it. Your boss is not going to see it. That's just it. So that is how much power you hold. If you decide, if your boss has say a speaking engagement, she has, say, an event coming up, another event coming up, a meeting with the governor, board meeting, it is you as this executive assistant who determines how it goes. And then, of course, you bring up the recommendation to her. But then it is you who makes all of those decisions. So you see, you're not just a paper pusher. You're not just somebody that is typing in meetings and doing things like that. And then your prioritization manner, pardon me, the manner in which you prioritize also makes you invaluable to the organization. Like I said, you are the one determining what goes in, what comes out, and all of that. As an executive assistant, your roles are also invaluable in that there are certain skills that you have. I'm sure all of us here have one skill or another. So there are skills that you have that have nothing to do with being an executive assistant. But when you get into that role, you find out that majority of the things that you already know are being able to apply it into that role. The current now, let's talk the current demand and the drivers. The other time, a friend of mine, I just give you an example. A friend of mine called me up. She said, "Oh, Funke, if you know anybody that has, kidney issues, etc., please can you let me know? I'm opening up a dialysis center in Lagos." This was something that we would never think was possible a few years ago, that a private person, not even somebody with, huge chunk of money, is able to open. He becomes a CEO, right, in his organization. I have another friend who used to work in a bank. He recently opened up a tech edu company. Those are the people that train you on, tech education and all of that, and then help you find jobs, place you, etc. He reached out to me. He was a banker. He reached out. "Oh, Funke, I'm opening this. I just wanted to let you know I have this business now." He's a CEO now. He needs an executive assistant. A colleague of mine as well from law school. She's a lawyer like me. She started planning events, say 8 years ago. Now she's one of the most sought after event planners in Nigeria. I would say. I wouldn't say Lagos because she goes about in Nigeria. Now this lady is a CEO. She's the managing director. She needs an executive assistant. These are people that are making changes in the world. They are making changes in the country, in the world at large. And these people need executive assistants to be able to, have business efficiency. So also, as you're aware, well, if you're not aware, be aware today that 98% of businesses, and 96% rather, of businesses in Nigeria right now are owned by private organizations. They're private organizations, they're owned by private people. About 84%, if I'm correct, 84% of jobs in Nigeria right now are generated by private organizations. They are creating 84% of jobs in Nigeria right now. Not to talk of the national GDP that private businesses are not to talk of the contribution to the national GDP that private businesses are giving. So you can see that being a business owner right now is, I would say, hot cake. And all of these business owners need executive assistants. So a lot of sectors too are already, they're blowing up. Think of the hospitality sector, think of the entertainment sector, think of medicals, think of the law field, think everything. Things are moving rather quickly. And all of these people, again, like I say, need executive assistants to be able to drive their. So you're not, so don't think, okay, I'm an executive assistant, I'm just looking for a job, just to go. No, you are You are tapping into the current opportunities that the economy and that the world is giving. So yeah, those are basically, your values to the executive and the current demand and drivers. Like I tend to talk quite fast, so if I'm talking too fast, please let me know. Okay, pros and cons of the EA role. Number one, the good. Let me speak about the good. Being an executive assistant, you hold so much power. Information is, yeah, knowledge is power, but information drives knowledge. Information is key. Everything that happens in the organization, you are aware of. If there are opportunities coming up, you are the first person that is aware. If you have, say, oh, some roles are going to open up in the next 6 months, you are sitting in board meetings, they are making those decisions. I'm not saying do insider trading, but you get what I'm saying. You are the first person. Number two, when you're an executive assistant, you are sitting with your boss, with your boss is discussing with other executives all the time, discussing with high profile individuals all the time. So when you sit with those people, trust me, there is a mindset shift that happens with you. You wouldn't even know it's happening. You begin to use certain words. You begin to move in certain manner. You begin to, stop certain things, curb certain things you do. You begin to pick up better habits. So those are some of the good things from being an executive assistant. Not to talk the network. Your network determines your net worth. Your network determines your network, right? So you are on a first name basis with executive secretaries of organizations, that people that are like your big aunties, your big uncle. They're just a call away, just a text away. Those are some of the good things from being an executive assistant. Of course, you need to have created a good stakeholder management skill. Let these people warm up to them, let them see you, let them see your value. Oh, not so let's talk about the career trajectory as well. Like I said at the beginning of this call, I started out my career, even though I went to law school, I started out my career as an executive assistant. It was a company then, just a small company in Surulere in Body Thomas then. And but then I began to attend meetings. It was like some small company, but I would go to Abuja. I was going to Abuja for meetings, meeting with ministers, executive assistants, meeting with important people, really big people. So my career just grew from there, and that's just me. I'll give you a few examples as well. A friend of mine used to be an executive assistant just 3 years ago. Currently, this lady is managing a global brand, an international organization. Their head office is in France. She's managing their Nigerian brand, their Nigerian what's it called? Then I have someone else. She used to be an executive assistant to it wasn't a minister, but she was an executive assistant in the public sector. Currently, she's heading her own parastatal. And I can go on and on. Another one, what did he study in school? Dentistry. He studied dentistry. He was just an executive assistant. They just brought him. He went for one course and then he came back. He was looking for a job. The chairman of the board said, "Oh, come, why not? Come and be my EA." He wasn't really doing much, but he got into that role and he began to own the role. Now he's moving with the big boys, because the tech bros and the tech sis in the ecosystem. Those are the people he's moving with now. Just a few years ago, like I wouldn't even say 5 years ago, maybe like 3, 4 years ago, he used to be just an executive assistant. He started out like that. So all in all, the pros of being an executive assistant goes beyond just you just assisting the CEO or just being the ears and eyes of the CEO. Yes, the CEO is important, and your job is to make her or him look good. But for your own self, think of this career trajectory, the network you'll be getting, the perks that come with it, even the financial perks. The financial perks, I would say, depend on the organization. But when you get into it, when you do your job right, oh, by the way, my younger brother is an executive assistant currently. And I can see firsthand how he has grown just 9 months ago. From 9 months ago, he was just doing his master's in Lasso. He became an executive assistant, and this guy has grown so much. Like you can see when he talks, when he moves, you can see it that okay, something has changed. There's a shift. There's a shift in mindset and shift in finances too. Shift in network. Shift in net worth. Quickly, let's move on to the cons of being an executive assistant. They're not so good. First of all, you are likely to lose yourself in the role. you are likely, highly likely to lose yourself in the role, because you're just coming fresh from school, fresh out of college, of uni, or this is your first job, career entry level. You'll probably be overwhelmed. So much information. How do I talk to this person? How do I move? Hope I'm not being a fraud. Don't let me say anything. Things like that. You are likely to be so overwhelmed. So you're likely to lose yourself in the road. Secondly, you could end up having a horrible boss. Some bosses are fair, in all honesty, but you could end up having a horrible boss, someone that will call you at 12 a.m., someone that you would say one thing today and they're hearing something else, or you say one thing, things like, you could have a horrible boss. You could also have mean-spirited co-workers. This is my own personal experience, not from being an executive assistant, but from other roles that I've been in. You could have really mean-spirited co-workers, people that, okay, they're seeing that, oh, this lady is the co-CEO, or she thinks she's all that, or he thinks he's all that because he's the executive assistant, and then they'll be trying to pull you down. So this is where you need to have a discerning spirit. You need to know, you don't even make friends at work. I'm not going to say you need to know who your friends are. You don't make friends at work as an executive assistant. You do not have the privilege of having office friends, having office gossips, and and the likes. Another thing is, it could shift you out of your comfort zone. This is also a good thing, but it could also be a con. It could shift you out of your comfort zone, that you begin to feel like I said, oh, am I a fraud? Can I do this? Can I do that? Your personal life will likely suffer. Your personal life will likely suffer. That's very, very that's an honest one. Now, hacks and tips. Like I said at the start of this call, first things first, determine your personal values. Your personal values are what every other thing you do in the organization, in relating with people, with your colleagues, with other stakeholders, ride on. Second hack I would give you: never ever engage in office drama. Yes, this is a normal, career advice that people will tell you. But as an executive assistant, it's very important that you note this down. A lot of information come through you. They go from you, they come to you. You are always in the room for important decision makings. So when it comes to office gossip, office drama, you do not have the privilege of being involved in those. You could have friends at work, but always ensure that whatever happens in the CEO's office stays in the CEO's office. Again, this seems like a flimsy advice, but it could make or mar your career. Another tip I would give you is read, read, read. Read. We're now in the social media era. Everybody wants, quick information. I just want a summary of this. I just want a summary. Let me just quickly go on Instablog to check the news. Instablog, as an executive assistant, like the role says executive. You don't find executives on Instablog. You find them listening to quality news. You find them dissecting news. So for you as an executive assistant, read. Gather as much information as you can. When you're in the room with your boss and they're discussing things, you don't have to speak, but they would sense from your body language that you are aware of what is going on, or that you know what they're talking about. You think you're just an executive assistant, nobody sees you. Trust me, the important people see you. A lot of people that I've mentioned, that I've given as examples, were people that were just executive assistants, and it was just a few people, a few stakeholders that saw them, that saw the way they carried themselves, that saw the way they moved, that recommended them for important positions. And speaking of carrying themselves, always dress well. Yes, your salary might not be executive level salary. You might not be the CEO, you might not be, but you need to find a way to always dress well. You're a lady, your hair is always done, your makeup is mild, you're coming out fresh from school. I've made this mistake before. Starting out in my career, I just wanted to look good. So I would, put all the makeup, use red flashy lipstick, you just, mild makeup. You're a guy, your hair is well cut, you are looking like an executive, maybe Adegunle executive, not essentially, but yeah, you get my point. Always dress well. Now, meetings. Say you're in a meeting with your boss, and this is very important because you're going to be attending a whole lot of meetings. First of all, 5 minutes late, 5 minutes early rather, is 15 minutes late. Yes, you're early for the meeting, but how early were you? Very important. Secondly, if you're in a meeting with your boss, if you don't speak unless you're spoken to. And even when you're spoken to, Again, discerning spirit. Be able to read the room. Look at your boss, look at their body language, look at their reaction. Somebody, a board member or a director is asking you a question in the middle of a meeting that your boss is sitting in. Know when to speak and how to speak. Your boss is making a statement and he or she has made a mistake. Don't just jump up and say, oh, I just want to, it's so easy to make mistakes like that. You write a note. Oh, ma, sir, this is what I think is happening. Another tip I would give you is yes, it's very easy as an executive assistant to say, oh, I'm going to tell my boss everything that happens in the office. You are not your boss's snitch. Your boss is not paying you that much money to be his or her snitch. Your boss is paying you to help them to make their lives easy, to make them look good, to ease them of administrative tasks. Administrative tasks seem like paper stuff. But trust me, if your boss is making strategic decisions and they have no structured and firm administrative tasks going on, their strategic decisions will ride on nothing. So your job, focus on your job. You are not your boss's snitch. You don't go telling your boss, oh, this person said this person said that. Your boss will get tired of you eventually. It might seem sweet in the beginning, but then at the end of the day, it just gets tiring. Also, your boss is upset with one of your colleagues or a worker. You don't go in there, escalating the matter and putting films, putting palm oil and all of that. One of your roles is to ease the thing, make your boss's life easy. As a boss now, if I go into my office and I'm complaining of a staff, yes, I probably want somebody to say, yes, he's like that, she's like that. But I don't want my executive assistant coming in to, add to the problems on ground already. I expect them to come in to ease my mind, to let me know, this person, oh, why don't you look at the good in this person's role? You might not necessarily like the person, but you like your job. So please, I think one thing I would also like to say, a hack I would like to give is I'll always have an emergency kit. It seems trivial rather. It seems trivial. It's nothing. Emergency kit. Yes, emergency kit. Your boss is going into a meeting or having a webinar session and they don't have lip gloss or they don't have eyeliner to put on, just little things like that. Always have emergency kits. Always have like needle and thread, paracetamol. If I have a huge headache, there's no way I'll be on this call right now. So one of the jobs of my executive assistant, she's not my PA, but one of the things I expect, one of the things that makes her stand out is being able to be a problem solver, being able to, quickly solve issues, no matter how little they are. Another tip I would give you, take your health very seriously. Your boss needs you alive and well. If you come into the office and you are looking like you haven't slept all night, I, as your boss, I wouldn't know you are depressed. I wouldn't know you didn't sleep all night because you were thinking of your rent. I wouldn't know about any of those. But when you take your mental health and your physical health seriously, you are able to, if you need therapy, go to therapy. If you need a friend to talk to a friend. If you have issues, go to HR. Don't, when it comes to your mental and physical health, don't trivialize those things. You need to always be on top of them so that you'll be able to do your job well. They seem like they're nothing, but they're absolutely everything. Now, what knowledge, skills, and abilities are essential for an EA? The core skills, I'll just touch on a few. This is something you can actually look up on the internet by yourself, but I'll touch on some that have helped me in the course of my career, and that I also believe have helped some of my colleagues as well. The first thing is you need to have business knowledge. You need to have business knowledge. Very, very, very important. And not business knowledge as in, oh, how does that work? You need to be able to know you need to have a holistic understanding of how an entire organization runs. From finance to procurement to HR to IT, everything. And you don't need to know all. I'll give you a tip now. You can just go on YouTube, executive MBA. There's so many videos on YouTube that will just, give you things. You can even be listening passively. They'll be able to help you, build some skills that you have. You need to have business skills so that when decisions are being made, when people are speaking, you're not just sitting down as a paper pusher. You are also able to make strategic contributions. Excuse me. Secondly, excuse me. Secondly, you need to have presentation skills. Presentation skills. The first thing is when you do a deck, you're not having too many words in your deck. Nobody needs to read anything. Make it in picture format. When you have, like, if you have things written down, it's easy for people to forget. But when you have pictures there, it's very easy for people to remember. Oh, I remember this. He drew a circle. He was describing the cycle of something, if you when you're building your presentation skills, always make sure that your decks are they're very picture focused rather than words, and then you can practice your words and then put it into knowledge. Also, be able to have good presentation skills. Practice in front of the mirror, practice in front of your colleagues. I say this, it's probably not part of your job requirements, but there will be a day that you might need to go represent your boss. It's happened to me as a board secretary, in my role as a board secretary. There might be a day that you might need to go and represent your boss somewhere. Were you prepared? Have you learned presentation skills? Have you learned how to stand when you're presenting? Have you learned how to communicate? Things like that. So presentation skills, secondly, very important. The third thing I'll tell you that's a core skill is writing. Yes, we all know how to write. It's not just to put English together. It goes beyond that. When you're writing, I read a few years ago in a book called Elements of Style by William Strunk. Elements of Style by William Strunk. If you need the name of the book after this webinar session, we can drop it in the chat box. So William Strunk describes this thing, and I've been using it since then. I can assure you that apart from the other things that I've had to learn, upskilling from other trainings, that book really helped my life, really helped my writing skills as a board secretary that period. So it tells you need to, when you're writing, your writing has to be complete. Don't just write and leave people guessing, okay, so what happened? So what's next? Writing, complete. Your writing has to be concrete. You are writing a memo. Make sure it is giving accurate information. Complete, it's concrete, it's concise. Yes, you have so many things to talk about. When you're giving the pitch, or when you're talking to your boss or whoever it is, your stakeholder, when you're talking to them later about the document, you can begin to go into details. But the document itself, you might have to talk about 10 things. Trust me, you can narrow that 10 pages. You can narrow 10 pages down into just one page. Always make sure your document is concise, it is clear, it is coherent. If you're writing, something I learned from one of the founders of Crypto, Mr. Tafa, is when you're writing, you have to, there's a way your mind has to work. So say, for example, I'm going to the market. I want to buy pepper, right? I want to buy pepper, onions. I want to buy vegetables as well. But then I also want to buy brooms, and I want to buy a padlock. When I'm writing my list, I don't go padlock, pepper, broom, this, that. No, I group them. You go according to how it's grouped. Okay, things for the store here, things for the house here. And the same thing with writing as well. You have a document, you have, your boss has something coming up, maybe he or she wants to present something to the board. You have 3 requests. Yeah, you are requesting for new chairs in the organization, you are requesting to move your procurement manager to another unit, and you're requesting to create a whole other unit. When you're writing, you don't lump up the whole thing. So you put, okay, creating a new unit, which is like the forms, this seems to be the most important thing, creating a new unit. Then you go, moving the procurement manager to another unit, and then you go to the seemingly trivial one, which could be buying a new chair. So writing, very important. Another skill you need as an executive assistant is document management. Documents get missing all the time. You will save something on your laptop, and in 2 days time, you're probably thinking, oh my God, where did I put it? So what I do, and what I teach my junior colleagues as well, is to create folders. In fact, have folders inside folders. If I have a paper, I have a book, for example, good ideas. I have scanned copy of good ideas, PDF copy of good ideas, Word version of good ideas. Those are all in a folder. If I have another version, or somebody has reviewed it, it has version 2 of good ideas. If a letter comes in to Crypto from the Ministry of Justice, today is what, say 23rd, you say MOJ to Crypto 23rd of October. If Crypto writes back to MOJ 22nd of November, Crypto to MOJ 22nd of November. Again, scanned version, PDF version, software, everything. You have to learn. When you get into an organization, you will see how they file. But when you have also trained yourself, to have all of these skills, you might even be the change maker there. You might be the one teaching them how to do new things, how to file better. Document management. I've spoken about document management. Time management, prioritization. You need to learn about the quadrant, time management quadrant. What tasks are important and not urgent? What tasks are urgent and not important? What tasks can I defer? What tasks can I, they're not urgent, they're not important, they have trivial, they're just things that I can always go back to later. You need to be able to, so you can look up time management quadrant, look it up, learn it. When you get into your role, you will just be moving like a star. You'll be in a meeting and they'll be saying, oh, how do we go about this? We have 1, 2, 3 things to do. How do we do it? You have learned time management quadrants. You're looking at it. Okay, maybe this should go here. Maybe that should go there. You are shining like a star. They wouldn't know your secrets that you've been able to train yourself accurately before now. Tools and tech required. This largely depends on the organization that you'll be working for. So you could, Crypto, for example, they're hosting this webinar on Zoom. Perhaps they use Zoom for their meetings. When you come into Crypto, you learn, you already know, because you are on this webinar session, you are learning things right now. And I believe you will still go, to ask questions and to do your own research and to learn more. When you get into Crypto, you already know how to use Zoom. If Crypto decides tomorrow that, okay, or Zoom platform is down, you as an executive assistant to the CEO, you are able to stand up and say, oh, yeah, Zoom is down, but we can also use Google Meet now. Everybody goes, oh, how do we use Google Meet? We're not very sure. This is just an example, we're not very sure. How do we go about it? You have gained that, you have learned that tool and tech already. So when you're coming in, again, you are a star, you are shining, you are a problem solver, you are positioning yourself as an indispensable material. I had a colleague some time ago. This guy was in research, he was in strategy and research, he was an officer there. Every time we had to create a pitch, we needed a deck created. It was this guy that created them. I will not mention his name in case anyone knows him here. He was the one we went to. He wasn't the tech guy, but we went to him all the time for these things. And that, I can tell you for a fact, that made him indispensable. Because when my boss needed to make presentations to the presidency and the governor's office, to her colleagues, anywhere my boss needed to go to, she had an executive assistant, but this guy was her go-to person to create her deck. So you need to learn how to create, you need to learn these tools, you need to learn these things, and project management tools as well. I personally find Asana to be very great. So again, you look at the organization, what do they use? Okay, this is what they use. Jira, they use Asana, they use this, they use that for their communication, for their project management. But if you've also taken the time to learn other things, coming back to my recent points, you are able to stand out. You're able to teach them new things. They are not just, you're not archaic. You're not one of them. You're a high flyer. Video conferencing tools as well. It's easy to learn. Zoom is free. Google Meet is free. You can jump on them, practice. You don't need it right now. But when you get into that role, everything is online now. Years ago, this session wouldn't be possible on webinar like so many years ago. We would have to look for a room, have to get coffee and tea, biscuits and all of that to get people in the room. Now everything has gone beyond physical. Even signing of documents, there's DocuSign now. I create contracts for my clients. I don't need to be there physically for them to sign anything. None of my clients, even the opposing counsel or whatever, nobody needs to be there. We do everything via DocuSign. We are saving documents. You have to check that. We are using Dropbox. So you need to learn a lot of tools and tech. You are not a tech guy as you think, but learning these things will make you stand out. In fact, on your CV right now, one of the core things you need to put on it is tech savviness, or whatever word you choose to use. And there are a whole lot of other things that you can learn, a whole lot of other tools. Top tips for ECPs wanting to be EAs. I'll just quickly move through this. There's so many things out there, and it has to be personal. You know what you want to do, you know what kind of EA you want to be. We are just here to give you our personal experience. But what I'll tell you is, have a plan. Please have a plan. Don't just go into the organization thinking, okay, I'm just going to be an EA. Let's see how it goes. Because we do that a lot. Let's see how it goes. Let's write it out. No, have a plan already. Begin with the end in mind. At the end of 2 years, this is what I want to be doing in this organization. This is where I want to be. It might not necessarily happen, and it might happen beyond your wildest dreams, but have a plan, have a purpose. Most importantly, don't be rigid. Don't be rigid. Don't think, okay, this is where I want to be. And then this opportunity is come. It happened to me, yeah. I was a monitoring and evaluation specialist, and the position came up to be a procurement. The opportunity came to be a procurement manager. The first thing I said to my husband was, look, I'm enjoying this M&E role. I'm enjoying, going for events, coordinating projects, etc., etc. I don't want to be a procurement manager. But then after talking to my husband, after talking to my mentors, I was able to see that I was making a huge mistake by being too rigid with my goals. So don't be too rigid. Have a plan, have a purpose, and do not be too rigid. Your next role might not necessarily be an executive assistant role, but whatever you've learned from being an executive assistant, just like me, could help you. Today, honestly, if I were to be an executive assistant to anybody right now, it better be paying me thousands of dollars. And that was just me 10 years ago, earning what? 50,000 naira in Surulere. So if you're an executive assistant today, or you want to be an executive assistant, it doesn't end there. You have a whole lot of opportunities ahead of you. Earning potential and benefits of the EA role. So the earning potential, honestly, it depends on the organization you're going to. You have grades of businesses. You have a nano business, you have a micro business, you have a small business, you have a medium business, etc. So depending on the organization and their compensation package, that's not it's not something anybody will just tell you. But then think about it, check your personal values, check the kind of organization you want to work for, check the kind of person you are. Am I able to work long hours? If I work long hours, it means I'm going to be earning this amount. This is what this company pays. Think about it thoroughly. Don't just jump into it. You're fresh out of uni, so don't jump into it thinking, oh, my first job, let me just. No, you can actually decide to, pardon me, something just popped up on the screen. You can actually decide to you can decide your monthly compensation based on the company you want to work on. But I would tell you for a fact, being an executive assistant goes beyond monthly compensation, goes beyond even the financial perks of the job. Think about it. Go into a room. You are just an executive assistant, but you're in the room, your boss is in the room, you're on a first name basis with Tony Elumelu. You're on a first name basis with the Ministry of Education, the Minister of Education. You're on a first name basis with executive secretaries of organizations or MDs of global brands. You are just a telephone call away, and they're just a telephone call away from you. Things like that. When you do decide not to be an executive assistant anymore and you want to transition, or you want to still maintain the role, but then go into another company, these are people that will help you. And your network at the end of the day determines your net worth. The money might not be there right now. Like I always say, don't focus on the money. The money will come. Focus on the important things. Money will flow. Money is abundant. Money is in abundance. It will flow. Negotiation tips for career starters. There's so many tips that people will give. If you go on YouTube, go on ChatGPT, talk to your bosses, talk to your colleagues, so many tips. But one thing I stand by is this. You go into the interview, you've spoken to them, they've spoken to you. Now, time for salary. Don't say, so I'm thinking 200,000. We ladies like to do that a lot. We don't think we deserve. Men negotiate. But then this advice is also for men as well. So how much do you want to earn? I've made that mistake so many times in my career until I learned my lessons. When they ask you, how much do you expect in this role? Or what is your salary expectation? You ask them, you interview the interviewer. Yes, what is the benefit? What is the compensation package for this role, if I may ask? You ask them. They might not necessarily tell you the truth, but they will tell you something close to the truth. Because if you eventually get the job, you end up knowing they were being dishonest. So they will want as much as possible to tell you the truth. And they will not put their hands down your throat to say a particular figure. First of all, before you go into an interview, you've already, done your research. You've checked how much your colleagues are earning in that particular role. You've checked how much the company pays, but then you get into the role. Never make the mistake of quoting a figure. Never, ever. So if, say, the compensation package was 600,000 naira per month, and then you go in and you say, oh, I expect 1.2 million. Yes, you could deserve 1.2 million. But some HR managers will just think, oh, I have like 50 people I need to interview. This one is asking for 1.2. Sorry, we can't take this person in. I remember one time we were meant to fill a role in my organization then, and it took us months, close to a year, to get someone. Then I asked a question. What's going on? Why are we stalling on this thing? And all the people that are coming are asking for a particular money. They're asking for this, they're asking for that. So please and please, you go into the role, you go into the interview, they're asking you, ask them to, what's the compensation package for this role? They tell you. Also, a tip for you, roles are usually in grades. So you have, say you're an assistant manager. As an assistant manager, there's also level 1, level 2, level 3. So the first thing you're asking them is, how much does it pay? What level is this role? So you know whether it's an officer level, assistant manager level, director level. And then you ask them, okay, what grade is it in? Trust me, you use this tip. If they are most likely sure to employ you, because they'll be thinking, oh my God, this has never, people don't usually ask us this. Most people that come, early career starters just come in to just quote figures to us. So yeah, that's basically the tip I would give you on negotiating your tip. Okay, recommended resources. There is a book here. There's a book that's not here. I had mentioned it during the course of this call. It's called Elements of Style by William Strong. Write it down, please. Elements. It's a very tiny. You can finish reading it in 2 hours. What am I saying? 2 hours? Maybe 1 hour. It's a very short book. It's going to change your life. It's going to change how you write, how you communicate. You are to be courteous. I remember one time, yeah, there was a particular board member. It was always difficult. He was an elderly man. And back then I didn't realize that, elderly people are usually unnecessarily difficult sometimes. So that day he had pissed me off so much. I took my laptop and I sent an email. Oh, your good self had said that, sir. Your good self. I didn't realize that. Saying you should say, oh, we welcome your good self to this organization. It connotes something positive. But then I kept repeating it. It seemed condescending. It seemed like I was patronizing him, and I definitely was patronizing him. So that email was not courteous at all. If my bosses did not see my value, I probably would have been downgraded into another unit, or even moved out of the organization, because I was an important stakeholder to the organization that year. So your email has to be courteous, your communication complete, concise, like we've spoken about. Check William Strong's Element of Style. Now, I am recommending 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is a book I've read like 4 or 5 times, and I will still read so many times, because you have to, yes, I read it, but then you read it again. When you find out that you keep reading something, you keep finding new things in it. This book basically teaches you how to be proactive. So you are being proactive, you are prepared. It teaches you how to synergize with other people. You are in a unit, you're an EA rather, and then the audit units are being unnecessarily difficult. They are difficult people. But when you've learned how to synergize, when you've learned how to think win-win, this organization is for all of us. We are embodying the core values of this organization. This isn't about me being the co-CEO. This isn't about me being the CEO's eyes and ears. This is actually me contributing to a sustainable business environment. When you're thinking like that, you are able to help business efficiency. You're able to stand out as well, and you're able to make your jobs, like your boss's life, easy. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There are so many, helpful things you can learn from that book. I'm recommending the 4 Agreements. The 4 Agreements isn't necessarily an office book per se, but the 4 Agreements helped me personally to decide my personal values. I read the 4 Agreements about 4 years ago. Before then, I thought I knew my personal values, but this book really helped me to understand how to go about it, taking nothing personally, seeking to understand. A lot of us make this mistake. So many, even executives make this mistake. We're speaking, and we're waiting for our colleague to finish talking and then we just want to correct them. So what you do, you seek to understand first before you then seek to be understood. So the 4 Agreements, really would help you. I have so many tips and tricks I could share today, but then we are time bound. So I'm trying to move as fast as possible. Okay, recommended resources again. Podcasts. So podcasts, if you use an iPhone, and I believe you can also get podcasts from from anywhere else, not just on iPhones. So Global News Podcast, I'm recommending because it really helped me. And it was one of my mentors that recommended this to me that year as well. So I'm recommending for you to listen to Global News Podcast regularly. You can listen to it passively. Say in the morning, you finish your morning prayer or whatever it is you do in the morning, just put it on while you're showering. You are list everything that is happening in the world, what is making the world go round, the people that are making important decisions, the things that are happening. As an executive assistant, this is something you need to know. So when you are sitting, when you go, you finish your morning routine, you go into work, you are equipped for whatever, any current affair that, and trust me, you think current affairs is nothing, it has nothing to do with the business now. In this company, we are just creating pure water bags. That pure water bags you are creating, merely listen to Global News Podcast or listening to Global News Podcast has been recommended because I found it to be very, very quality. But mainly listening to the news every morning, quality news, I say, every morning, really helps you. You get into work, you're like, boss, we heard on the news that, pure water industry, people in pure water industry are now being given so loan by the World Bank. This is something your colleagues will probably not think about. This is something you're probably waiting for the strategy unit to come up with or for the research unit to come up with. But you are making yourself as an executive assistant to be indispensable. You are creating value and you are making important. You are helping to make important decisions. Now, think like an economist. This one, years ago, I would never, anything economics, don't call Adefunke, count me out. I didn't even know what it meant. I didn't even want to have anything to do with being an economics. But then when I started my MBA, this podcast was recommended, and I'm recommending it to you as well as an executive assistant. It's so important. I recommended it to a lot of executive assistants that I've trained as well. This podcast helped me. You might find similar ones if you don't particularly enjoy the voices on this or you don't enjoy it. So they help you to understand how decisions are being made. When you're in a board meeting or you are in any meeting at all, you are going to, like I said, you're going to be attending a whole lot of meetings as an executive assistant, and you're going to be hosting a whole lot of meetings as well. So you already know, okay, why are these people deciding to create a new unit? Why are they deciding to create a new product when this product is not working? It's easy for you because you're starting out. So you can just be thinking, oh, look at these people. They don't even know what they are doing. They're just coming here to just, make decisions, etc., etc. But when you are thinking like an economist, you are already reading into the mind of executives. You know how they think. You know how they are thinking of supply and demand, and not just supply and demand that you taught in school last one. Yeah, you know how to do, do you know the equilibrium point? You know how they're calculating it. You know why decisions are being made. It's like chess as well, learning chess. You know why they are making strategic decisions. Before they even finish speaking, you already kind of know where they're headed. And trust me, like I said, you think nobody is looking at you as an executive assistant, but everyone is watching. The important people are watching. My friend became an MD. She became an MD of a global company from being an executive assistant. Another one became like he's just a big boy in the ecosystem, the tech ecosystem right now. What was he? Executive assistant. I myself, I might not be heading a global brand, but from being an executive assistant, I have so much contact. I have so much. I can boldly say I am a high networked individual right now, just from starting that as an executive assistant and leveraging the skills that I have and making sure that I am managing my stakeholders, making sure I am showing up all the time. I'm never 5 minutes early. I'm more than 5 minutes early. Smelling good, looking good, sounding good. Don't speak unless you're spoken to. Being able to do research, being able to see most of the executive you see, or these people you see come on the news, even governors, they come on the news, they do their tie, they do their skirts, they are quoting figures and whatnot. Trust me, 5 minutes ago, they had no idea those figures existed. They had no idea those facts existed. It was their executive assistants that put those things together. And if they go on the platform or on the stage and they begin to quote the wrong figures or they begin to say the wrong things, it rubs off badly on them. There was something that happened 3 years ago, I believe. There was a huge event, first of its kind in Nigeria. We were hosting it. And the CEO was not on ground. She was on a training outside of the country. The executive assistant was meant to append her signature on all of the letters going out. These letters went out to top players in the business ecosystem in Nigeria, not just in Lagos. Went to governors, went to ministers, went to top people. Guess what? The letter was addressed to only one person. And this letter was sent to different people. Instead of the letter being sent to, one person at a time, writing all of that. It wasn't the EA that created the letter. She did not generate the letter. But then she appended the signature. Whoever received the letter is not thinking, oh, which staff prepared this letter? They are thinking, this lady must be tacky. This CEO must be tacky. So whatever you do as an EA rubs off badly on your boss. Let's see what's next. Okay, I guess this is the end of my many talks. I hope you have been able to gather some things. I hope you have been able to take some notes. If you need extra hand holding, reach out to Crypto. I'm sure they have available resources for you. If you do have any questions, please let us know.